So those of you who know me know I like to talk about football, and one of my jobs, I have obviously my number one calling is to be a pastor, but I have two other callings. One is in the military as a Navy chaplain, the other is as a football coach up at Bellarmine Prep. And the first day, I'll share with you the first day what I tell the kids. Day one, when they get here, I take them through the five stages of athletic development. Now, you could trace this too, because there's stages of spiritual development as well, and that's why I'm bringing this up, because this correlates directly to someone's walk with Jesus Christ. But the 5 stages of athletic development, or of a football player, they start with the first thing. What's the foundational thing you need is the Spirit. So we say the Spirit, what does that mean? So this is the ground level. First step through the door, or first rung on the ladder is you have to have the Spirit. That entails that you say, I want to be here. I want to be a part of it. I'm in. You raise your hand. That is foundational. You have to want to be there. And you may say, well, that's pretty easy. Everyone in the room will probably raise their hand. Not really, because there's a lot of boys that play football, not for themselves, but for their dad. And they're there for the wrong reasons, and they're miserable. And dad's overbearing, or now these days, mom is. And seriously, so now the moms are almost as bad as the dads in terms of coaching and dealing with parents, because parents are insane now. But the parents have always been insane. They're unhinged now. But if the kid's doesn't have the Spirit, they can't be there. That's the I want to be here. If they don't have the Spirit, nothing else is going to work. They're going to be miserable, and they're going to make others around them miserable. So I want to be here. I'm in. You raise your hand. Number 2, so if you could do that, the next step is the will. The Spirit and the will. What is the will? It's when things get hard, when they get tired, when adversity comes, when they're made uncomfortable, and they start to quit. Because what you've just said you want to do is in conflict with what you feel like doing. What you said you want to do is in conflict with what you feel like doing, because you said you want to be here and you want to be a Bellarmine Lion Pride football player, but I'm tired. Or I don't want to get up that early, or I don't want to lift weights, or I don't want to name any variable. That's the will. So I don't even teach football fundamentals to kids that can't get past step 2, and there's 5 steps. Do you want to know why? It's pointless to teach them fundamentals, or any coach, like Tim, you'd say, it's pointless to teach fundamentals, be it any sport, about the sport to a kid who keeps quitting. Because the problem is, you keep quitting, you don't hustle enough. And this is what I do with kids that quit continually on the field, or they loaf, or they don't hustle. You know what I do? I show them, personally, I do it. This is what it looks like to run to the football as a defensive player. This is what it looks like. And I'll show them, set, go, and it's maximum amount of strain to the conclusion of the play. I'll show you. I don't need to tell you, I'll show you myself, I'll do it. I will run your butt to the ball. This is how you're supposed to do it. Watch Dan, I'll do it. Because that's one thing I can control. I can't control my athletic ability, but I can control my effort. I'll show you. I'll run them to the ball. And then if they still don't run to the ball, I run them to the locker room and I tell them to leave this program forever. Because you are a giant cancer that's going to kill everyone around you because you keep quitting. No, we don't literally do that, but that kid will never be on the field. I will never play that kid, ever. Ever. I don't care how much he pouts. I don't care how many emails I get. You will never play on the field if that's you, ever. You could be around Bellarmine football. You could come to my Bible study that I have. I'll love you. I'll give you all the support you need, but I'm done with you in terms of football because you're a quitter. So we got to get you to stop quitting. So that's the will. Spirit will. The next one is position mastery. If I could get you to persevere through adversity, now I could start teaching you fundamentals. Now I could tell you about defensive linemen, about hand placement. Now I could talk to defensive backs about backpedaling and shuffle technique and eye control, pivot, how to do a center field turn as a DB on a post corner route, that stuff. Now we could get to that stuff, which you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter if you know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying now we could get to the specifics of football fundamentals of your particular position. Now you master your position. That's level 3. Level 4 is not only do you know your position and you know what's going on in your job, but you also know what's going on with the whole structure of the defense. Because a safety's job is different than a corner, that's different than an outside linebacker, that's different than an inside linebacker, that's different than a D-end, that's different than a nose. Those are all different. They have different techniques, different body types, different responsibilities, different jobs. But that 4th level, the person after they learn level 3 position mastery, they know team execution. They know if I'm playing safety, I know what the corner's doing, I know what the coverage is, I know where the backer's dropping, I know what's going on up front. I know if it's a max pressure, I know if we're rushing 3, I know what's going on around me. You follow what I'm saying, guys? That's 4. And number 5, top, is that equals to competitive excellence. Now you're a dominator is what we call it. You not only know your job, you know everyone else's job, and the last level, the dominator, competitive excellence, is you're able to influence others around you. You're able to be an athletic parent, so to speak. You basically turn into a hybrid. You're part coach, you're part player. Those are the 5 stages. You are all on one of those stages spiritually too. And probably, you know where I spend the most time with our kids at Bellarmine? 1 and 2. They quit. Because we live in such a privileged culture where we get everything so easy that the real things in life aren't easy, they're hard. The real things in life that are worth something, they don't come with a scroll and they don't come with the press of a button. Love doesn't come with a scroll or a press of a button. It doesn't come easy. Love only comes through self-sacrifice and hardship and pain and giving up your wants and your desires. Real love is always like that. Real relationships are always like that. That's why real relationships in our culture are becoming increasingly rare. That's because we're so shallow, and all we're looking for is the quick button press or the quick fix. And when hardship or adversity comes, we quit. We quit. That's why our divorce rate's so high. That's why we stumble from one job to the next, especially this generation that's our millennial generation that's coming up of young people. They hop from job to job to job to job to job to job to job. Simon Sinek, who did a study on millennials, he's a writer, wrote a great book called Start With Why. He said he was talking with his nephew who had been working on this one particular, he just got out of college and was in this one particular job for about 6 months, and he said, "Hey, Johnny, how's it going?" And he said, "Well, I'm thinking of quitting." And he goes, "Why, John?" And he goes, "Well, I just don't feel like I'm having influence, and basically, he said, I'm not advancing fast enough in this job. I'm not the boss yet." And he goes, "John, you've been here 6 weeks." Well, see what's happening? Any adversity, we quit. But we're all on that stage somewhere in our spiritual development. You have a decision to make today in church, because we're going to look at a passage that's going to show probably more about us than we'd like to admit. You have a decision to make. It's like, oh gosh, what do I do with my stuff? Over here. Bobby Bowden says, who's an old coach at Florida State, the greatest mistake is to continue to, oh no, not that one. Never mind. You have a decision to make, is that, are you going to regress spiritually today, or are you going to progress spiritually today? The one thing you can't do is stay the same. You don't get a choice about staying the same. So, what's it going to be? So let's look at this story. Find out what it can tell us about ourselves and where we are. Because where are you on that spectrum of those 5 stages? Because you can make those very spiritual that quick. As a matter of fact, they're derived from spiritual principles, from Christian principles. Are you a dominator? Do you know your job? Do you know what's going on around you? And are you parenting? Are you a spiritual parent? Are you influencing others? Are you sharing the gospel with other people? Are you discipling other people? And if you're like, no, well, I can tell you where your development is. You're probably right in that spirit-will category, point 1 and 2, because you're quitting. You keep quitting because it's hard. I know. It's hard. Following Jesus Christ is not easy. Listen to the terms he uses when he calls you to follow him. He says words like, leave everything, die, pick up your cross. Does that sound easy? Salvation is is entirely in his hands. I'm not saying we have to do this for salvation. I'm saying, but if you have a burning desire to be biblically obedient and follow him, that's a different deal. Or do you just want to come here and get saved and have a nice Sunday experience and go home and not have Jesus Christ mess with you? I think if you've ever met Jesus Christ, you'd want more than that. I mean, I want more than just to say, hey, thanks for getting me into heaven, now leave me alone. That's a poopy attitude, isn't it? I mean, that's poopy. That stinks. So we're going to look at a city that was basically like that. You're not going to believe what I'm going to read to you, but I'm going to do it anyway, and it's in the Bible, which is why one of the reasons I believe the Bible is true, well, the chief one is because Jesus Christ rose from the dead, and the other reason is the Bible doesn't have any wart remover. It just lays it out there for you. Like if you were going to make up a religion, you wouldn't include probably half of the stuff the Bible puts includes in here. Because it just shows you all its warts. It's crazy. And this is one of the craziest stories. It's a story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Do you remember last week Abraham was saying, God, don't destroy it, don't destroy it, don't destroy it, don't destroy it for the sake of 10. Well, God says, fine. Well, what happens is the two angels that were with Abraham and God, there were three visitors, the two angels go into the city of Sodom and Gomorrah to see what's going on. Now, let me tell you something about Sodom, the city of Sodom specifically. They were very affluent, extremely wealthy. And when I mean extremely wealthy. And what they were known for, you'll find out in Ezekiel 16, we learn that God says that the sin of Sodom, inevitably we think it's sexual, but it was that, but that wasn't the main thing. God says this was the sin of Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. Arrogant. You're a jerk. Overfed. That means you're very wealthy. It's not saying you're just eating a lot of food, but you're overfed and you're unconcerned. So you're stuffing yourself and you don't care about other people. You see, that's the sin of Sodom. He goes on to say, and they do not help the poor and the needy. They were haughty. What does haughty mean? Does it mean that you're physically attractive? Like she's a hottie? No, it's H-A-U. Prideful. They're prideful. C.S. Lewis calls pride spiritual cancer. Because pride is always looking down on things, and what does faith do? Has to look up at God. And as long as you're looking down on something, you're never going to see something that's above you. So that's why prideful people will never have an authentic relationship with God, because they're always looking down, and if you're always looking down, you're never going to see what's above you. C.S. Lewis calls it spiritual cancer. It eats away the very possibility of love or life. Pride. Pride is what made the devil, guys. Pride is what the devil tempted us with, that turned our relationship with God in the garden into something that's broken and nasty. You shall be like God. Remember what Satan said to the woman? You shall be like God. You can have control. You can take hold of the steering wheel of your life. You can have it your way. You can have everything your heart desires, which was another law in Sodom. It was law. You could do whatever you want. You could do whatever you want. You could act however you want. You could have whatever you want. You could sleep with whoever you want. Does this sound oddly familiar? Does this sound like Western society? It does, doesn't it? No one has the right to deter you from what you think is what leads to your happiness. No one has the right to tell you what to do. You can live your life as you see fit. Truth is whatever truth you want it to be. That sound familiar? Sounds like Sodom to me. You know Billy Graham's wife? She said about if God doesn't punish, she said, if at some point God doesn't punish Western society in America, at some point, she said, then he has to go apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, trust me, I'm as pro-American as anyone could be. I'm a patriot. I bleed red, white, and blue. And like I said, I served in the military for 15 years and fly my flag. And I'm as patriot as they get. But that's not untrue, what she said. There's a There becomes a problem when you have a society that defines freedom as being able to do whatever we want. And when we celebrate the day which celebrates freedom by lighting off fireworks for something that we know nothing about and filling our guts with food and alcohol and not thinking about anything other than what our individual desires want, you have a big problem. Where Memorial Day is just another day, long weekend where you get out of town, skip church, go get drunk, and eat lots of food. I'm telling you, that's what our country does. That's a problem. That's a problem. So the angels go into the city. That's Sodom. You can do whatever you want. Sleep with whoever you want. By the way, rape whoever you want. Take whatever you want. Well, I want it. Chapter 19. The angels arrived in Sodom in the evening, and Lot, remember who Lot was? He was Abraham's nephew. He's living there, which tells you something about Lot. He's choosing to live in Vegas, right? I use Vegas because we call it Sin City, but it's probably the closest approximation. He's choosing to live there. He's chosen it. I want to live here. And why did Lot want to live there? Because it's fun. I could do whatever I want. I could have whatever I want. I could sleep with whoever I want. I could eat whatever I want. I could just go wild. So Lot's living there. And it says he's at the city gate, which means that Abraham's nephew has leadership. He's at the city gate. And the two angels arrive. When he saw them, he bowed down with his face to the ground. My lords, please turn aside to my house. You could wash your feet and spend the night with me and then go on your way early in the morning. No, they answered, we will spend the night in the square. To which Lot says, you don't want to spend the night in the square. Because if you're in the square, very unsquare things happen in the square. Does that make sense? If you're going to go in the square, that means you're going to get beat up, looted, mugged, raped, so on and so forth. Because remember, it's a free-for-all in the square. So he says, no. You don't want to stay in the square. You're going to be very sorry about the square decision. So come with me. No, they answered, we'll spend the night in the square. But he insisted so strongly that they did go with him and entered his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking bread, and they ate. Before they'd gone to bed, here you go. Before they'd gone to bed, all the men of Sodom, so not just one or two or three or four, all the men of the whole city, all the dudes from the city of Sodom, both young and old. So it's not just these old curmudgeons, it's not just these old duffs, it's the young guys too. All of them surrounded the house. They called to Lot, Abraham's nephew. Where are the men who came here tonight? Bring them out to us so that we could have sex with them. How would you respond if you're Lot? These are your buddies, remember? Why do you have buddies like that? Lot goes out to them and says, and shut the door behind him. So he steps out, shuts the door, and he says, no, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. So he calls them his friends. Look yourself in the mirror. Why do you have buddies like this? Do you want to know why you have buddies like this? Because you kind of look like your buddies. That's the thing about friendship. I mean, at some point, you start to look like those you associate with and hang out with, which maybe isn't a good thing. No, my friends. Don't do this wicked thing. Well, at least he's speaking the truth to them. Don't do this wicked thing. And he has a solution, because they're going to say, well, why shouldn't we do what we want? Remember, it's the law, Lot. I could do whatever I want. I could have whatever I want. We could sleep with whoever we want. That's the law. Why shouldn't we do this wicked thing? Lot has a solution. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you could do whatever you like with them. Seriously? I have 2 daughters who have never slept with anyone. Take them. But don't do this to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof. You know, Abraham's not a great guy. We've been looking at this. I mean, he's back and forth. He looks like an absolute saint compared to Lot. Here's Abraham and Sarah pleading for a child. Here's Lot giving his away. What is this? Take my kids. Do you know what it tells you? When you get so wrapped around the axle of whatever sin it is that's entangling us, it gets you so warped and insane. That's why I like to say what? Sin makes you stupid. It gets you so entangled that you don't even make sense to you. It's what I like to joke about when you mature out of a phase of your life and you look back on it and you say, what was I thinking? Is because not only did what you were doing not make sense to those around you, isn't it crazy when you look back in your life, what you did doesn't even make sense to you? I mean, how would you like to be Lot? And 20 years from now, you look back and say, oh yeah, I remember when I threw my daughters into the lion's den so they could be raped and murdered by the gang of perverted men. That was a good idea, huh? Craziness. Here's what they say, the men. Get out of our way, they replied. This fellow came here as a foreigner. They're talking about Lot. This fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge? We'll treat you worse than them. You hear what they said? You just said what we want is wicked, Lot. Who are you to play the judge? You're not the judge over me. You're not the boss over me. You can't tell me what to do. Whatever I want to do is right. Does it sound like you've ever said that to your parents? Do you ever say that to each other? Do you ever say that to a teacher, coach? Who are you to tell me what to do? Don't tell me what to do. Who are you to judge me? I want to do this, and this feels right, and you have no right to judge me. And you'd say, well, the Bible says, and then people say, oh, the Bible says, Jesus said, don't judge. Have you ever heard anyone say that? Look, next time, this isn't a very winsome response, but if anyone who says, the Bible says don't judge, look at them and say, you are an idiot. I want you to say that to their face. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, because you know what, Jesus does say don't judge, but what he's really saying is don't make judgments. He's not saying that. The Bible's full of judgments. From front to back, it's littered with judgments. It's a judgment book. As a matter of fact, Jesus calls the day in which we stand in front of him, the day we die and we go to heaven, or at the end of time, that's called Judgment Day. Not only does the Bible make judgments, God devotes a whole day to it. Hey, welcome. Today is Judgment Day. And that's the final day is called Judgment Day. So the Bible clearly is not saying don't make judgments. The Bible's saying don't be judgmental. Because you could speak the truth without love and be very judgmental. And Jesus is saying, you have the truth, but you're a jerk. Don't be like that. Speak the truth in love, the Bible says. Judge and speak the truth in love. And these guys are saying, who are you to judge us? I thought by law, what we want is what we get. But the men inside, the angels, reached back and pulled Lot into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, both young and old, with blindness, so they could not find the door. The two men said to Lot, the two angels, do you have anyone else here, sons-in-laws, sons or daughters, anyone else in the city that belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we're going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against his people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went in and spoke to his sons-in-law who were pledged to marry his daughters. He said, sons-in-law, hurry and get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. Okay, here's homework. Do you want some homework? You're like, no. Well, you're going to get it. Here's the homework. You go through the Gospel of Mark and underline these words. Every time it says immediately or suddenly, it's all over the place. With God, with Jesus Christ, it's not, I'll wait till tomorrow. It's now, 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 now. Hurry, 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 hurry. It's not, let me take some time to get my affairs in order. Let's think about this and let's come up with a strategic plan. It's now. Hurry. Go. You're too slow, you guys. You're too slow. Now is the day of salvation. Sorry, did I just make him cry? Probably. April 7th at 11:19 a.m. at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, or if you're not even a member of the church you're visiting, now is your time. Not after the service, not let's think about it, now. Well, what do you mean? I've been going to church my whole life. Yeah, you've been going to church your whole life, but you haven't been following Jesus. Because you could go to church and not follow Jesus. You could go sit in a pew and nod your head, and that means nothing. That doesn't make you a Christian. That doesn't make you a follower of Jesus Christ. It's trusting in him. It's relationship with him. So now is your time. I don't care how old you are. Now is your day. I don't care how far. You're on that spiritual 5 steps somewhere. And most of us, you know what we're probably doing? We have a will problem. And this is Lot's sons-in-law's problem. Here, I'm going to get to it really quick, but I got to finish the story. Remember his kids, his sons-in-law, go, 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 let's go, let's go. And they're like, that was funny, he's joking. With the coming of the dawn, the angels urged Lot, hurry, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you'll be swept away when the city is punished. What's the word there that sticks out to you that the angels have to say to him? Hurry. Mike, Joe, Susie, go. You're just sitting, go. That's God's word to you. Hurry, take your wife, your 2 daughters, the angels say. But Lot lingered. He hesitated. So the men, the angels, had to grasp his hand and the hands of his wife and of his 2 daughters and pull them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. As soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, flee for your lives, ! Don't look back and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains or you'll be swept away. What do the angels have to keep saying? Hurry, go. What do you think this means spiritually? There's a greater meaning here. God's word into your life where you are. We're in Sodom. And what is he saying? You have to go. Hurry. But Lot lingered. No, my lords, please, if I've found favor in your sight, you've shown great kindness in sparing my life, but I can't flee to the mountains, for this disaster will overtake me and I'll die. Look, here's a town near enough to run to, and it's small. Let me flee to it. It's very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared. They said to him, very well, we'll grant your request. We won't overthrow the town you're in, but flee quickly because I cannot do anything till you reach it. And they called the town Zoar, which means what? Small. And you know what? That's what Lot's life ended up being. Just small. That's what your life, my life, all we live for is ourselves, and we hang out in Sodom. Do you know what our influence is going to be for the kingdom of God? Very minimal. Because, I like to say, if the only thing we live for is me, that's all I have to give in the end is me. And you know what? You and I, am speaking about myself, you are not worth giving your life to. Your happiness is not worth you sacrificing your life for. It's not worth it. Survey that was done a number of years ago. I've talked about this before. I can't remember how many hundreds or thousands of people it was over the age of 90, and they asked him. This is wisdom. I listen to this stuff. If you had to live your life over again, what would you do differently? That's a great question, isn't it? Especially when you have 90 years in your back pocket. Do you know what they said? There were 3 responses that popped out way to the top that almost all of them said, and there were 3. Number 1, they said they would risk more. They played it safe. They played it comfortable. They played it like Lot and his sons-in-law and all of them are playing with. The angel said, leave, 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 go, 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 hurry, hurry, hurry. What does Jesus say? Get up, follow me. Immediately they left everything and followed him. Suddenly Jesus went here. Immediately he did this. What are they saying? They would risk more. They would step out more into the unknown. They wouldn't have played it safe. And do you know why we play it safe? Why Lot didn't want to leave and why his sons-in-law didn't want to leave? Do you know why? Because they like their old life with their new life. See, I have an old life, and I talked about this Wednesday night if you were at church. Dan has an old life. I like my old life. You don't think people in Sodom liked their life? They get to do whatever they want, act however they want, take whatever they want, sleep whatever they want. They like that. That's... Have many of you seen the movie, now I'm blanking on it, it's Kevin Costner. He's a famous, For Love of the Game, he's a famous baseball, he's a Hall of Fame pitcher, and he's dating Kelly Preston. Her name's not Kelly Preston, that's the actress's name, I can't remember her name, but he's dating her, and they're kind of dating. Have you ever been in a relationship like that, where you're like, well, we're dating? Well, that's kind of like probably most America. Well, we're sleeping together, but we don't know if we're dating. Isn't that a weird? That's a weird thing to say. So we're sleeping together, but I don't know if we're dating. she surprises him down at spring training, and he's like, "Oh, great, I'm so glad you're here." And then, a girl walks down in just a towel that he'd slept with the night before. And she runs off, and he runs after. He's like, "Why are you so upset? I thought we were just kind of doing this thing, and I didn't know if this was like, I didn't know if we were dating." And she's like, "What's that woman doing in your apartment or your condo or your hotel or whatever? What's she doing there?" And he goes, "Well, that's my masseuse." And she goes, "Well, what's she doing there? Why'd you sleep with her?" He goes, "Well, I like her." That's Sodom. I like it. I like my old life. And when you follow Jesus Christ, you know what it means when you say yes to Jesus? Trust me, I'm with you. It's hard to say no to me. And when you say yes to Jesus, you have to say no to you. But if you're like me, I like cake and I like eating it too. I like my old life, doing what I want, when I want, however I want, with who I want. And I like the idea of there's something up in heaven that when I die, this isn't the end. I like that too. So I want to have both. You can't have both. The message of the text is you have to get out of Sodom. You have to hurry. You have to flee. You have to go. Get going. And this is why, as I was reading it, were you thinking, I don't understand Lot. Why does he have to be pulled out? Same reason you and I do. We like it. And he has to pull us out. And God was going to sweep Lot away, but the only reason he did is because he was Abraham's nephew. By the time they reached Zoar, small, the sun had risen over the land. The Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah, and thus he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, destroying all those cities and also the vegetation. And Lot's wife, what? Looked back. Lot's wife looked back, and she became what? A pillar of salt. What was so wrong there? Jesus says no person who puts their hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. We got our hand on the plow. Jesus, we're with you. But you know what we're doing? My life. I like my life. And Jesus says, those who want to save their life, this is Mark chapter 8, look it up. Not my words. Those who want to save their life, what? Will lose it. And those who lose their life, Jesus says, for me and for the sake of the gospel, will have real life. But you can't, gang, you can't do this. It doesn't work. It's oil and water. Old life and new life don't go together. And this is why we quit. Because you know what? The new life comes along, and maybe this is the first time, maybe you've been going to church your whole life and you're like, I never knew what being a disciple of his looked like. Maybe this is the first time you're seeing it and you're seeing the cost and you go, cost too high, it's too high. Too high. I have to give up my Sunday mornings? You mean I can't just go to the bar every Friday night and pick out a random stranger and sleep with them? I can't. God doesn't want me to do that? I like that. Okay. Have it your way. But we got to start talking about the Spirit then again, because you're a quitter. You keep quitting. I can't talk theology with you and discipleship because you're a quitter. Well, that's kind of Lot. Lot and his daughters left Zoar and ended up settling in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. Oh, I forgot to tell you, the next morning Abraham got up and returned to the place and looked and saw smoke rising from Sodom and Gomorrah. Then Lot and his two daughters moved into the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his two daughters lived in a cave. You think what I've just read is bad? We got to go. But I'm going to share this with you. It gets way worse. Do you mind if I go like 5 minutes over here? Is that okay? Like you got a choice. One day the older daughter said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man around here to give us children, as is the custom over all the earth. So I have an idea. Let's get our father to drink lots of wine and then sleep with him and preserve our family line through our father." That night they got their father to drink wine, and the oldest daughter went in and slept with him, and he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. What the hell? That's what when I first, sorry about my language, but it's like, did I just read that properly? The next day, the older daughter said to the younger, "Last night I slept with my father. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight. You go in and sleep with him so we could preserve our family line through him." So they got their father to drink wine again. And the younger daughter went in and slept with him. Again, he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites today. The younger daughter also had a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. And he is the father of the Ammonites today. The end of the chapter. You could take the man out of Sodom, but it's hard to take the Sodom out of the man. Is that like the most disgusting thing I've ever read in church to you before? Please nod your head or you have to leave. It's what I love about the Bible. It doesn't hide anything, does it? The Bible doesn't play cloak and dagger. It's all right there. Do you want to know what's even crazier? And this is the coolest part about what I just read. Out of that incestuous thing, they had two boys. One, remember the Moabite? She named him Moab, which is a term in the military for the mother of all bombs. But and he becomes the father of the Moabite people. Guess what? About 1,000 years later, out of that Moabite people, because they become a very populated group of people, the Moabites, there's a lady who ends up marrying a Hebrew man, and she lived with this Hebrew man, this Moabite lady, lived with lived with him and her mother-in-law, and her husband died, the Hebrew husband died, and she ended up moving in with her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law was named Naomi, and the Moabite lady was named Ruth. And Ruth ends up meeting another Hebrew man, and they get married and they have a son. And Ruth ends up becoming a mom, and she ends up becoming a grandma, and she ends up becoming a great-grandma. And she becomes a great-grandma to a very important person, to King David, of all people. And David ends up becoming a very important person because he's the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great- So what I'm telling you is out of that perverse sexual Sodom and Gomorrah / Lot incest with his daughter encounter produced the Savior of the world. What does that tell you? It tells you that, guys, and we'll conclude with this, no matter how dark it gets, no matter how perverse it looks, no matter how crazy your circumstances are, no matter how much you despair of God's love or God, He's working. He's working. He could take the craziest, nastiest, repulsive, perverted garbage heap of a life that is us and use it to produce the world. You want to know what's worse than sleeping with your dad and having children through him? Do you want to know? I'll give you a sin that's worse. You're saying, I'm all ears. Because I don't think it could get much worse than that. Here, imagine if God himself, the perfect Son of God, came down into our midst, and we took him, and we beat him within an inch of his life, and we hoisted him on the cross and murdered him. That would count as worse. Being a raging deocidal maniac trumps sexual perversion every day of the week. The Jews didn't kill Christ. The Romans didn't kill Christ. Dan killed him. That's why he was there. He wasn't there for his happiness, Jesus wasn't. He was there because we put him there. Our sin put him there. Luther says, when you look upon the cross, know that that's our work. That's a sin worse than what I just read to you. And what did God do with that? He created the most beautiful redemption that the cosmos has ever seen out of the worst event the worst perversion that we could ever enact. That's how he works. Look at your life right now. Is anyone here in despair? Is anyone hurting? You don't have to scratch the surface on a lot of our lives, and stuff's going to come out. Stuff's going to come out about health or relationships or career or illness or fear or depression, anxiety, thoughts of suicide, you don't have to scratch too hard and that stuff surfaces. God's there. If he was there in this story, and if he's working redemption out of the death of his only son, he's certainly there with you. And he's working, and he's shaping, and he's molding, and he's sculpting. He's active. We have an active God. He didn't just set things in motion and go hands off. He's acting, he's moving, he's maneuvering. What does the Bible say? Book of Hebrews. What does God say to us? Never will I leave you or forsake you. Never. And if God says never, what does that mean? Never. Never. He'll never give up pursuing you. He'll never give up shaping your life for good. But he's calling you today to more than spiritual, lukewarm mediocrity. You have to leave that behind. You got to get out of Sodom. I know you like your life. I like mine too. You got to leave. You got to go. You got to hurry. You got to get out. It's the message of the text. And it's a great message. It's a power, you know what else it is? I see heads nodding out here, and I love that. I love that because you're acknowledging it. And I know there's really Holy Spirit something happening. That it's not just another Sunday, huh? That you don't just sleepwalk through church and then sleepwalk out in your life. That God is calling you to something. And who knows what that is in your life? First and foremost, he's calling you to step out of your comfort and to trust Jesus Christ. And he's calling you to do something, maybe here as a community, all of us, for something that will ultimately work for the redemption of the world. That's what he's always about. But at first you got to leave. You got to get out. You got to deny. You got to pick up your cross and follow him, and you got to trust in him. And you know what's crazy about God and his path for your life? Let's say if he wants to get you to that basketball hoop over there. You see it? I always like to joke, it may not be a straight line. And maybe he has to lead you here. Maybe you have to go back here. Maybe you have to go over here, and he's leading you, and you're like, but I thought you said you wanted me to go there. Yeah, I do. But we're going to go here. We're going to crawl around back. Well, that doesn't work. We're going to go this way. We're going to step over here. We're going to do this. We're going to drop down, and maybe back through here. These curtains, there's lots of junk back here. I probably shouldn't open that up. And then he takes you over here. And then maybe you go back here, and you're saying, it's really dark in this back room. And it is. You should be back here. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Maybe up the ladder here, and then finally, maybe he ends you here. With God, the shortest distance between 2 points is not a straight line. Because we're all so crooked, and it takes time to straighten us out. So you got to trust him, and you got to leave, and you got to hurry. Okay, let's pray. Thank you, Father, for your love and your grace and your mercy. I pray some hearts are touched and convicted that we would have the spirit and the will and become people that influence others for the sake of Jesus Christ. So I just pray for all the hearts here today that you would shape them and give us courage. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.